Hey, Suzanne here with caregiverhaven.com and the Haven community, where our members work with me for their special challenges, both seniors and families taking care of seniors. And for 25 years, I've been helping seniors and their families navigate aging as a physician assistant in geriatric care, emergency medicine, internal medicine, and urgent care. So I've been around medicine quite a bit. Last January, one of my patients called me in tears. She had just hosted a beautiful Christmas for her entire family, 20 people. Everyone told her it was perfect. And 3 days later, she couldn't stop crying. She felt empty, exhausted, and completely undone. She thought something was seriously wrong with her. And here's what I told her and why it changed everything. After every major celebration, whether it's a holiday, a birthday, a wedding, or even a funeral, your body goes through what we call post-event emotional letdown. This isn't just feeling tired. This is your brain chemistry crashing. For weeks before a big event, your brain pumps out stress hormones. Cortisol and adrenaline keep you moving, planning, coordinating, managing everyone's emotions, especially when at the time that someone has passed. You're running on pure determination. Then the event ends. Everyone goes home. In your body, it crashes hard. Here's what most people don't understand. Your brain doesn't distinguish between good stress and bad stress. Planning a joyful wedding takes the same toll as dealing with a loss, but both of them require massive amounts of emotional energy, and both drain your reserves completely. I've seen this pattern for 25 years in my practices. The people who host their celebrations, who take care of everyone else, who make sure that everything runs smoothly, they're the ones who crash the hardest afterward. Why? Because they never took care of themselves during the event. If you don't recognize this pattern, you're going to keep repeating it. Every holiday, every birthday, every anniversary. You'll wonder why you just can't enjoy celebrations like everybody else seems to. Most people miss the warning signs until they're already in a crisis. Here's what to watch for. You stop reaching out to people. Those text messages, they're going to sit unread. Phone calls go to voicemail. You tell yourself you'll respond later, but you never do. Your sleep patterns fall apart. Maybe you're sleeping 12 hours, but you still feel exhausted. Or you're lying awake at 3 in the morning, replaying conversations from the party. Either way, your body is screaming for help. The third sign is losing interest in things that usually bring you joy. Your favorite TV show, it seems boring now. That hobby you loved feels like just too much work. Food doesn't taste as good anymore. These are the things where your brain is telling you it's telling you that you need to pay attention right now. And a few days of feeling down after a big event, that's normal. We've all done that. Our children do that. When we have a family vacation and we take our kids on vacation, they come back home and what do? They feel bad. They have terrible behavior. They're acting out to us. They're mad at us. Well, they don't want to go to school. We don't want to go back to work. We had a great vacation. And it takes a couple of days for them to get back into the swing of things. We've all seen that kind of behavior with our children. So what I used to do is let them know ahead of time we're going on vacation. And I just want to remind you that when we get back home, it's going to take us all time to readjust. It's perfectly normal. Your body needs the recovery time. But here's when you need to pay serious attention. If your symptoms last more than 2 weeks with no improvement, that's a red flag. If you're having thoughts about harming yourself or feeling like life isn't worth living, you're going to need professional help immediately. You pick up the phone and you call 988 and you reach out to a mental health provider right away. 988. Okay? So that is extremely important that you pay attention to that. And we all go through these big rushes. If your daily functioning has significant decline, or if you're missing work, or you're neglecting personal hygiene, or you can't complete even the basic tasks like grocery shopping. You've moved beyond normal post-event tiredness, right? And into something that requires intervention. So please get it immediately. The difference between normal recovery and clinical depression can be hard to spot on your own. Having a clear checklist helps you know when to ask for help because you're not seeing it. You're thinking, oh, I'll just snap out of it. No, we don't snap out of it. We need some kind of way of telling. And so I've created this tool for you. It's called the Burnout Early Warning Checklist. I want you to take a look at it. You can download it for free, but it's going to show you what your signs and symptoms are. But also, I've got something in there called the One Boundary This Week. It takes less than 5 minutes to complete, and it helps you spot those red flags before they become a crisis. You get a clear yes or no format on showing you exactly what to do right now. But you want those clear answers. You have to have them. The one boundary this week, what do I mean by that? Well, most of the people I have worked with are so overwhelmed that what we do is we try to plan the next big event, whether it's a wedding, if it's a funeral, if it's a holiday. But we try to plan it, and we're going to take one responsibility, and we're going to either let it go, we're going to lower our expectation on it, or we're going to delegate it to someone else. So let's say the one big expectations for the next event, the one single thing is I'm going to host 20 people again for Christmas. We can hold up. We can say, wait a minute. I don't want to be on the back end of this depressed for a couple of days trying to pull myself back out of it because I've overstressed myself, my hormones, my ability to keep my adrenaline and cortisol levels going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delegate this dinner party to somebody else. That's what you do. So it's only one boundary. You don't have to do them all, just one thing that you're going to let go. And that single boundary can be the big difference between managing stress or drowning in it. It may be that you decide not to give gifts that year. It may be that you decide to bring the dessert and stay for an hour and then leave if it's a picnic during 4th of July or something like that. All right? You're going to start setting those boundaries. So click below and get the link and start talking about what boundaries you're going to set for the next events that are coming up this year, the next 12 months. But here's something that surprises most people. The bigger and the more successful the event, the harder you're going to crash afterwards. It's just that much more cortisol and adrenaline has been used up in your brain. And you'd think a wonderful wedding or a joyful holiday would leave you feeling amazing. It does, but then the opposite thing happens. When you pour everything into creating that perfect moment, you leave yourself completely empty. This is why many couples go on a honeymoon after the big event because they don't want to go back to their houses let down. They don't want to try to figure out what just happened. They need to keep it going, but not plan it anymore. They need to rebuild up their levels of cortisol and adrenaline. And they do that by resting and relaxing on the honeymoon and enjoying just themselves and no one else. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. And that's what I've always practiced is common sense in my medical practices. Okay. There's another factor that we don't talk about, and that's the social contrast. During celebrations, you're surrounded by people constantly. You're laughing, there's conversation, and there's interaction. And then suddenly everybody goes home, and the house gets quiet, and your phone stops buzzing. The dramatic shift from high social stimulation to complete isolation can trigger intense loneliness and sadness. We see this a lot with kids. When we go on that family vacation, they're spending time with mom and dad, the very people in the world they love more than anyone else in the world. They're spending 24/7 with their parents. And then they come home and they have to go to school and their parents have to go to work, and they get what I call bad behavior. They get ugly. They say nasty things because They're angry that they can't be with their parents 24/7 like they want to be. We all do this. This is this social contrast that I'm talking about. Understand that these feelings are predictable and normal, and it just takes away all the feelings of guilt or shame or doubt that we might have about ourselves. It's not about being weak. It's not about being broken. Your body is having a significant and completely normal response to this kind of stress. It just has to have time to rebuild the cortisol levels and all the stress hormones that we have in our body. We've used them all up. The body's going to take some time to rebuild them. Prevention is always easier than recovery. And here's what actually works. Schedule recovery time immediately after your next event. Block out at least 2 or 3 days, just like a honeymoon, where you have nothing demanding on your calendar. Give yourself permission to rest without guilt. Second, build in what I call micro connections during your recovery. You don't need big social events, just small interactions make a huge difference. A 10-minute phone call, a quick cup of coffee with a friend, better yet, a 10-minute walk in the park with a friend. Tell them you'll meet them there and walk for 10 minutes. Maybe a text exchange, maybe a funny movie. These little moments bridge the gap between the high stimulation and complete isolation. Third, use your checklist. Download it today. Maybe you can always crash 3 days. Maybe you do always crash 3 days after a big event. Maybe your sleep disrupts for a week after. Once you understand this and you become aware of what's happening, now you can make those pre-event adjustments. If you're thinking, oh, I'm already there, Suzanne, it's too late. This is exactly what I've seen every January in my offices. So start with the basics. All you need is sleep, food, and movement. Sleep, food, and movement. Just pick one area to stabilize. Set a consistent bedtime. Eat one nutritious meal a day. Take a 10-minute walk. Get off that sugar from the holidays. That's not helping. Okay, small, consistent actions are going to build momentum. And more importantly, reach out to at least one person. Your brain is telling you not. Your brain actually wants you to isolate, but isolation makes everything worse. So send one text or call somebody or write a note to someone. Just reach out and touch someone. All right? Break that isolation bubble right up. Okay. So we talked about the post-event emotional letdown. It's very real. It's very common. It's manageable. You're going to look at all your big upcoming events and holidays. You're going to look at what you're expected to do, and you're going to set one boundary, and you're going to delegate that to somebody else, or you're just going to say, this year, that's just not a good fit for me. I'm not going to be able to do that this year. Why not? They always say, why not, right? Well, it's just not a good fit for me. All right. You're going to let somebody else take it and do it. So get that checklist and make sure you're not burning out. And if you are, make sure you're seeking medical help immediately. Take care. We'll talk soon. If you like this, again, subscribe to the channel, share the video with someone who needs it, and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows to send it to more people. Take care. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.